So number one was equilibrium, find the equilibrium points. On your homework, I think one actually said for you to use your calculator to do it because the functions were squared. And then this one I gave you a linear. I would have just, since they're both equal to p, you can set them equal to each other. And so when I do that, I'm going to have 500 minus 0.4x is equal to 380 plus 0.01x. And when I solve all that, I believe I get x to equal 240. And then when I substitute that x back in for p, I end up getting p to equal 404. So now here's my question. What does the 240 represent and what does the 404 represent? Cassidy?
The 240 is the price and the 404 is the units.
So not right.
Oh, no.
Was
The other way around.
other way around.
Darn it.
So x is the number of units and p is the price. P price.
That would make sense.
So to $404. Yes. So you've heard about supply and demand before, right?
If we would have put it in parentheses, it would have
Mm,
been.
that's fine. That's fine.
Yes.
The biggest mistake is there's a question similar to this on the quiz. The biggest mistake is people find x, they don't go back and find p. And the question specifically says find the number of units and the price. Yes? Yes. Okay, the next one, you did the answer to 32, and that should have been 0, 0, 0. Do we need to do 32? Huh? This is 32, yes? All right, so when I go to do 32, I'm just going to follow, I'm going to move quickly, but I'm going to eliminate the x's first. So when I start this, I am going to write the first equation that I see, 4x plus 3y plus 17 is equal to 0. That's the equation I'm not going to lose. O to z. And then I'm going to multiply, probably row 1 by negative 5. Yeah? So negative 20x minus 15y minus 85z. And you're going to tell me if I make a mistake, right? 4 times row 2, so this will be 20x plus 16y plus 88z is equal to 0. So when I do that, the x's will drop out, and I'll have y plus 3z is equal to 0. I might choose that as my second equation. And then now I've used row 1 and row 2, so I'm probably going to use row 1 and row 3 to eliminate that x. And when did it bother anyone that they were all equal to 0? So I'm going to have that negative y minus 2z is equal to 0. So now I have two equations with two unknowns. So I'm going to put those two equations together. It looks like I don't have to multiply by anything. They can just eliminate the y just the way they're written. So y plus 3z is equal to 0. And then negative y minus 2z is equal to 0.
Plus 2z. Plus Oh, yeah, sorry.
So 5z is equal to 0, z is equal to 0.
Yep.
So then putting back here, so z is equal to 0, which makes y plus 3 times 0 equal to 0. So y is equal to 0. And then 4x plus 3 times 0 plus 17 times 0 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 0 as well. Cassidy?
Hypothetically, if someone were to write the wrong 32 on the drill sheet, but they had like solved the correct work and it's all shown on the other sheet of paper, would that count for anything?
Hypothetically, Nathan?
For problems like this, I guess would we be able to guess and check? I guess
Well, I guess my question is do you want full credit or do you just want guess and check credit? So I mean, I wouldn't give you a 0 if you happen to guess correctly. I mean, this one's kind of different because they're all set equal to 0, and the only way that's usually going to work is if they're all 0. So this one was pretty easy to guess and check. The one on the quiz, not so easy. But know that you, like when I grade, I'm looking for steps. So if you don't show me those steps, then I'm not giving you those points. I guess is the nicest way to say it. Is there any other questions on the homework? Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if it was like me or my calculator, but every time I tried to graph it, mine like wouldn't graph right. Like,
He said that too. Which one were you trying to graph and it didn't graph right?
well, there was a couple, but 51 on the page 475.
That one?
No, it was something with like,
That one?
no,
Y equals negative.
yeah, I don't even have it on there.
Oh my, don't you hate that? All right, what does it say?
It's y equal, or y minus e to the negative x. Like,
E to the negative x.
equals 1, and then y minus ln of x equals 3.
In this screen, then you rewrote this, yes? You had to rewrite this. Did you rewrite this?
That's what?
So I would just take this over to the other side and have y is equal to e to the negative x plus 1. And then y, she's crying. Why is she crying? Natural log. And this is natural log of x, yes? Did you do that?
No.
So if you weren't in relations, then were you in relations? Oh my gosh. It's like you've never been here before. Let's recap. How did you solve the quadratic ones if you've never done relations? Okay, if you do relations, see how you're on the graphing page? If you hit menu, graph, entry, edits, number 3 or number 2 is relations on my calculator. I think it's 3 on yours. I don't know. All right, so if I did it that way, then I didn't have to do that step to solve for y. I could just do y minus e to the negative x is equal to 1. Is that what you want to do?
Sure.
I feel like,
I
full sentence, please.
did it when you said it. It's just because I forgot to set it equal to y. That's why it wasn't working.
Oh,
And so now I got it.
so now I don't have to do this anymore? So I'm done. Okay. Yes, sir?
What do I do if I can't equal it to 1?
That is a great question.
Charlie, when you say your y button,
He means it's like,
So you're going to example 8 on the notes. So that's the last example that we have. I forgot to put the ordered pairs there. And full disclosure, these ordered pairs do not match the graph that you were given. Okay? Everyone good? So this is very similar to the quadratic one. I'm given an equation, and then I'm going to substitute in to make this equation so that I can solve for my A, my V sub 0, and my S sub 0. So does no physics people in here? Can't take physics yet. That's sad. But I'm going to tell you the S stands for the height at a given point in time. T is time. V sub 0 stands for your initial velocity, and S sub 0 stands for your initial height. So I am going to solve for my A, my V sub 0, and my S sub 0. You with me, John? Absolutely. So I have 3 ordered pairs. I'm going to have 3 ordered pairs, which because I have 3 unknowns, and I have to have 3 to 3 to make it a square system. So like the first one, my S is 104, so that's going to be the S on the left side, is equal to 1/2 A, and then T is 1 second, so 1 squared, plus V sub 0 times 1, plus S sub 0. So when I write this in the way that I like, I'm going to write 1/2 A plus V sub 0 plus S sub 0 is equal to 104. Easy? Sure. Bailey, can you do the next one, please?
76
And then when you clean it up,
1/2 A.
this is going to be 1/2 A, and then 2 squared is,
4A, sorry.
so this is going to be 4 times 1/2,
2A.
2A.
Was 2 times A sub 0
And then the next one, Caitlin,
16 equals half A.
and when you clean it up,
16 equals 2A. 2A plus
what's 3 squared?
6. Oh, my bad. 9.
9. And what's 9 times 1/2? And don't tell me 4.5.
4.5.
That was even worse. Can we write 9/2?
Yeah.
I know you don't believe me, but having it as a fraction is going to make it easier than not.
Okay. This is B sub 0. Oh, yeah. Plus
So there's my 3 equations, and now I have to solve my 3 equations. So the first thing I'm going to do, he's not here, Cassidy.
rewrite the row 1 and row 2.
Okay.
So then after that, you can multiply top row by 2.
If I multiply the top row by 2, 1/2 times 2 is going to give me 1. Is that what I want?
Oh, I would have to cancel out the V sub zeros.
Oh, okay. Going rogue.
So then negative 2.
Well, here's the thing, though. If you're going to go rogue, can we go rogue intelligently?
Sure.
Not that getting rid of the V sub zeros was a bad idea, but these all have a coefficient of 1. So if I'm going to go rogue and not eliminate the A first, why wouldn't I make life easier and eliminate the S sub 0? Because then I don't have to multiply anything by anything.
That's good.
Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
All right. So if we're going to go rogue, why do we go rogue when I record? All right. So which one are you going to multiply by negative? The top one or bottom? Top one. So we're going to make this negative 1/2 A. Ooh. Now, before I get too carried away, over here, I'm going to make this box, and I'm going to write my equation with 3 unknowns, my equation with 2 unknowns, and my equation where I finally solve. Which of these 3 equations do you think I want to save as my top equation?
2A plus 2.
Yeah, the second one. I mean, if I can avoid fractions, I mean, I love fractions. They are my friends. But if I can avoid them, I'm going to avoid them. Okay, now here we're adding. Cassidy, did you add? And you're going to use fractions, right?
Yes, I'm going to.
Absolutely.
So
Is she using her calculator?
I just like to double check it. I don't really always.
Okay, double check.
So then you get 3 over 2A. B sub 0. And then no S sub 0 equals 180. No, it's negative 104.
It's negative 104.
Negative 28.
And I'm going to go, well, I'm going to hold off because I might not want to use that one. All right, so that was row 1 and row 2. Now which row do I have to use? Maddie. I have to use row 3, and then what other row do I want to, and remember, I'm trying to get rid of the S sub 0. What other row do you want to use it with?
If we use row
We can use row 1. Well, we have to use either row 1 again or row 2 again. But I would choose row 1 because when I do that, that'll eliminate that fraction, right? She was thinking ahead. Which one are you multiplying by a negative, row 1 or row 3? Row 3. So row 3 is being multiplied by the negative. Row 1 is staying the same. And what did you get when you added those?
It'd be -1 minus 2b6 or 88.
88. Now, of this equation and this equation, the two equations, which one do you think you're going to want to say for your two variable equation? Nathan? The second one. Now, if you use the other one, that's fine. So negative 4a. It was negative 88, right? Oh, positive 88. All right. So now what am I going to do? Set the two together. So v, I have that 2a plus v sub 0 is equal to negative 28. And then I have the 4a minus 2v is equal to 88. Which one do you want to multiply by what?
Multiply the top one by 2.
Okay, so I'm going to multiply this one by 2. So when I do that, what do I get?
3a plus 2b plus -56.
And are you okay if I'm lazy and don't rewrite that? And then what do you get, Xavier? -32. So a is equal to, negative 32. So now what am I doing, John? Yeah, did you do that? Negative 40, right? So v is equal to? And now to find a, Alicia?
So you do 2a.
So a is negative 32.
2 times -32 plus 2 times 20 plus s sub 0 equals 76. Then you get -64 plus 40 plus s sub 0 equals 76, which is -24. So then you have s sub 0 equals 52. No. S sub 0 equals 100.
Sarah, how am I going to write my answers? Am I going to put in a triplet or is there another way? Yes, you do. See the equation? Yeah, you're going to put it back into the equation. So to do that, I'm going to say S is equal to 1/2. A, we said was negative 32. You with me? plus v sub 0, which is 20, plus s sub 0, which is 100. The last thing I'm going to have to do is multiply that 1/2 times negative 32 and get negative 16. And I forgot to square my t. And this is my final answer. That was not too terrible, was it? Good? How would I check it? So, what do you mean by that?
Or plugging 1 to make equal to 1 and then see if you get 104.
I could do that, or a more efficient way maybe is to actually graph this in my calculator for a regular equation and see if go to my tables and see if I get those 3 ordered pairs. T would be X, S would be Y. We're good? Okay, now we're reviewing for this quiz that we're taking next class that we know about. So, Nathan, Alexa, Joey, Riley, and Contessa, you guys are up at the boards, 5 boards, and the rest of us are going to do it on our desks. Okay, here's all the work for this one. Your final solution is -4, -4, -4. You may want to pause it to check all that work, but it is all done. Not necessarily the most efficient way to do it, but definitely a way to do it. Gets the job done. Okay, this one you substitute. You have the write the quadratic equation for the order 3 ordered pairs, and you have ax squared plus bx plus c, and I'll give you a second to work on that. Okay, when I substitute in, I get this, right? Everyone got that? What I'm going to do to make life slightly easier on myself, and in these 2 equations here, I'm going to put 3 in for my c. So if I do that, I'm going to have a plus b plus 3 is equal to 4. So that equation is going to be a plus b is equal to 1. Then when I put in 3 here, I'm going to have 4a plus 2b plus 3 is equal to 3. So this is going to be 4a plus 2b is equal to 0. Now I've simplified it so that it's 2 equations and 2 unknowns, which is a lot easier to work with, yes? So now I'm probably, if I'm going to do elimination, I would probably multiply this one by a -2. So I'm going to have -2a minus 2b is equal to -2. And then I'm going to have 4a plus 2b is equal to 0. When I do this, I'm going to have 2a is equal to -2. So a is equal to -1. Then putting it back into this equation right here, I'm going to have a, which is, so a plus b is equal to 1 is the equation. So I'm going to have -1 plus b is equal to 1. So b is equal to 2. I already know c is 3. So I'm going to write y is equal to a x squared plus bx plus c. And that's my final answer. Easy? If you get a break like that, and I consider that a huge break when I get a variable, use it. Substitute it in, knock it down to a 2 by 2. Good? Okay, we don't need to do another, do we? No. Okay, word problem. Word problem. So this one's saying in Super Bowl I on January 15th, 1967, the Green Bay Packers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs by a score of 35-10. Now, guys, stop. I know you're going to try and figure this out mentally. That's not going to do you any good. You have to show me the work. The total points scored came from 13 different scoring plays, which were a combination of touchdowns, extra points, and field goals were 6, 1, and 3 points, respectively. The same number of touchdowns and extra points were kicked or scored. There were 6 times as many touchdowns as field goals. How many touchdowns, extra points, and field goals were there during the game? Well, how are you going to start this process? Okay, you have to start by identifying your variables. That would be the first thing I would do. So what variables would you like to use? L for what? No, L's for what? Huh? T, F, and K. So T is going to be the number of touchdowns, right? Then F is going to be the number of field goals. And then K is going to be the number of extra point kicks. Yes? Now, it says the total number, so this is the number of touchdowns. So like if I scored 2 touchdowns, T would be 2, and that would be 12 points. Does that make sense? Yeah. So write an equation based on the fact that there are 13 different scoring plays. If this is the number of touchdowns, this is the number of field goals, this is the number of kicks. Yeah, so I'm going to do T plus F plus K is equal to 13. Then do one based on the points. Xavier?
Is this just for one team or for like the total?
Both teams. Both teams.
Both teams. Can you scroll up?
Yep.
That'd be so that'd be 60 plus 3K plus wait.
3F, right? Because she's.
Yeah, 3F plus K equals 45.
Yeah, it has to be 45 because it's both teams, so you have to add that 10 and 35 because it's both teams. Then it says the same number of touchdowns and extra points were scored. What's the equation going to be for that, Bella? Which one's my touchdowns? Which letter? And which one's my extra points? Okay, and if they are the same, how do I write that in math? T is equal to K. And I would be done. I don't need another equation, but they did give me another one, so I'm going to write it, and then we can choose which one we're going to use. There were 6 times as many touchdowns as field goals. What would that equation look like? Oh, Ben.
So you said twice as many?
I said 6 times as many.
So it'd be 6 T and 1/2.
Does everyone agree?
Yes.
No. There's 6 times as many. There's 6 times as many touchdowns as field goals, so I'm going to have to multiply the field goals by 6 to get it to equal the touchdowns. You with me?
I mean, not really. I feel like
Okay, let's do it this way. If there's 6 times as many touchdowns as field goals, which one's the larger number? The touchdowns or the field goals? The touchdowns. So which one represents that the T is a larger number? Really?
Yeah, because you're multiplying.
Well, here, let's say it says 6 times 2 would equal 12, yeah? So the field goals is larger there, yes? But if I had 12 is equal to 6 times 2, now the number of touchdowns is larger, yes? In this case, T is equal to 2, F is equal to 12, T is equal to 12, F is equal to 2. Which one has a, yeah. So this is going to be, so now I have 4 equations. I have 3 unknowns. I only have to use 3 of those equations, so I get to cross one out. I get to cross one out. Brent, which one do you want to cross out? You don't get to cross out a letter. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Which equation would you like to cross out? Okay, so he's crossing out equation 2. So that's the one he's crossing off. So we're left with T plus F plus K is equal to 13. We're left with T is equal to K, and T is equal to 6F. How do you want to do it? You started us down this path. How do you want to do it?
6F. So you substitute into the 6F for T. Wow.
Boy, those F and plus signs really look. Oh.
So the 6FTF.
So this would be 7. This would simplify to 7F plus K is equal to 13. So you used 1 and 3 to get there. Yes.
So then. Oh, yeah. K equals T and T equals 6F. So you can substitute in 6F for K. Isn't that how that works?
Say that again.
So K equals T and T equals 6F. So you can substitute 6F.
You could.
So that
Just kidding. Bring your arms off.
F equals 13. So that means that K equals, or
F
F equals 1.
equals 1. If F is equal to 1, what's T?
T is 6.
So T is equal to 6. And then I could go back to the 6 plus 1 plus, what letter am I? K is equal to 13. And get K to equal 6. Yeah. You thank your friend because you were going down a rabbit hole. You didn't know where you were going down. Probably, though, if, to be completely honest, it's tempting to cross that one off. But if you would have maybe crossed this one off or this one off, it would have been a lot more fluid to get there. You wouldn't have had to make that jump that he made. Does that make sense? Yeah. So everyone good with that? Oh, and words have to answer words. So I'm going to have 6 touchdowns, 6 extra points, and then 1 field goal. If I start with words, I have to end in words. Yes? Yes, sir?
How many points would we get if we did each word?
This problem is about 6 points, and I would give you 1. Because to me, it's not about guessing. I mean, because yes, guessing and checking, Mrs. Pesic and I always have this argument. Guessing is a valid way of doing a problem, but it's not showing me what you've learned. So I'll give you, I won't give you 0. Okay, this is I just wanted to review a non-square system before we leave. So this is a non-square system. Remember, you have 3 unknowns, only 2 equations, which means you're going to relate the variables to each other, but you cannot actually solve them for each other. Yes? I mean, you can't get like x is equal to 2 or y is equal. So go, I'm going to give you a minute. Don't look at me like that. This is a good problem. I just made it up, and one way it looks really nice, the other way it doesn't look so nice. There are 3 possible answers. 3 possible answers. I'm going to pause. I'm going to give you the first thing you should do for these is you should pick, you're going to add them so that you knock it down to one equation with only 2 unknowns. So you have to decide which variable do you want it to eliminate. So when I do this, which variable, Nathan? Okay, he's going to eliminate y. So if I eliminate y, I'm multiplying this by a positive 2, yes? So I'm leaving the first equation alone. Did everyone eliminate? If you did not eliminate y, you'll get an answer that looks different, but it should still work. And I'll explain that in a minute. That is 8, right? You guys would tell me if I made a mistake. So when I get this, I get 7x plus 13z is equal to 105. Now I'm down to an equation with 2 unknowns. So which one would you like to solve for, either x or y? X. So I'm going to have 7x is equal to 105 minus 13z. So x is equal to 105 minus 13z over 7. So now I like to take a minute and reflect on my work. So my x is this 105 minus 13z over 7. I don't have y yet, and then z is going to be z, right? Now I have to find something to put in here for this y. How am I going to find something to put in here for this y? because z is the variable that I solved x in terms of. Any ideas? I have an x and I have a z. Can I find a y? I'm going to plug it back in. I can either use the first equation or the second equation. So which one? I'm going back to my originals. Do we want to use this one or this one? Number 2. So we're doing the 2x. Yeah. So we're doing the 2x minus y plus 4z is equal to 30. So in place of x, I'm writing that. Z is staying z. So all I did is I distributed the 2 here. Okay? What's the best way to do this at this point?
Put everything on one side.
Before I even do that. Multiply by 7. I'm going to multiply by that least common multiple 7 to get rid of that fraction. So I'm going to have 210 minus 26z minus 7y plus 28z is equal to 210. Oh, that's nice. Wouldn't what?
Shouldn't it be minus 14y? Because earlier we multiplied.
No, this 2 was only times the x, and this is the x.
Oh, okay.
I see where you're going, but no. All right, so I am going to put this 7y on that side, okay? The 2 10s will equal 0, yes? And I'm going to have 2z. Okay.
Off the rip, you just multiply the first equation by 2 and the second equation by -3. You have to go.
Yeah.
Do that.
I know. Oh, which variable am I solving for? Y. So I'm going to have y is equal to 27z. Yes, John is right. If I would have gotten rid of the x's, it ended up being, I think,
7y minus 2 minus 7y.
but like here, let me do this. If I put in 7 here, this will be 2, and this will also be 2. Like if I substitute in the number 7 for z, and I just made that 7 up. If I put 7 in here, 2 7s, that will be 2. When I put 7 in here, I'll also get 2. If you solved it for either x or y, you're going to have like x, and then, oh, why can't I do this? 2 7s x, something like that. Was it 2 7s x? Yeah. So that would have been a lot easier work, but you don't know that, so whatever, either answer works. Okay, let me explain what's going on. That's your homework. This is finishing up 7-3. This is finishing up 7-3. This is the review from the chapter review at the back of the book. You will see that there is a video on Blackboard. I did every single one of these problems in detailed steps, and the video is posted on Blackboard. And the reason why that is because I will not be here Wednesday. I'm going on senior retreat. So if you have any questions, you must come see me Tuesday during line time or Tuesday after school. I will not be here Wednesday. Your quiz is Wednesday. Right now it's about 30 points. Know that there are word problems on that quiz. Okay? Okay. Now I'm going to